Greetings, Benjamin J. from Ben's Trains with another in the series. Well, today is Sunday, and surprisingly enough, I just got an email telling me that a package had been delivered, and this was on the front porch. This is a Marx 400. Picked this up on eBay for 10 bucks. Now, this is in absolutely dreadful condition, but I wanted to do an unboxing on it. I bought it for parts. Anyway, it was on there forever, and I contacted the guy, I just made him an offer on it. Just told him I use these old locomotives for parts, and he accepted 10 bucks plus shipping, of course. So I'm really curious to see what kind of condition this is in. Now, there are only a couple of photos, but it was pretty poor. All right, let's take a look and see what we have. Wow. Well, as you can see, as I said, this is in pretty poor condition. It is absolutely covered in rust. It turns, wow. Let me pull the shell off this real quick. Now, the entire rear plate is missing. I knew that. But I bought this just to get the motor. It's single reduction, but for 10 bucks, you can't beat it. You can't pass it up. All right. The shell is in, well, decent condition, a bit battered. It's cracked here, but so many of them are. But it is intact, nothing's broken, so usable shell. Anyway, the motor is absolutely dreadful condition, covered in rust. I mean, this thing is just absolutely covered in rust. Let me pull the camera off the tripod, take a look at this thing. As you can see, this thing has been sitting forever. It's been stored someplace that was beyond damp. This was stored someplace wet, very likely outdoors or in an unheated garage or something like that. Perhaps a cold, wet basement. But as you see, it is literally covered in rust. So I bought this for parts. Whether it's going to run or not, I really have no idea. So I'm going to put a drop of oil on the intermediate gear, just because this thing is in such terrible condition. Let that flow down onto that shaft. Big drop of oil directly on the output bearing. Let that run down. I actually flooded this. I want this thing to get a good dose of oil down in there. All right. Turn it over, and we'll put a drop of oil on the bearing for the armature on the brush plate. All right, the moment of truth. The question is, of course, will it run? Now, this thing has been sitting very likely for 30 years. It's been sitting for a long, long time, no doubt. All right, let's see what happens. We're on the second rail. Let's see what happens. Absolutely nothing. Now, the wheels need to be cleaned, of course. They're covered in oxide. Well, we got a buzz. All right. Hold on. Grab some WD-40. All right, we're going to spray some WD-40 directly onto the armature. As you see, turn the wheels, and we're going to spray some WD-40 directly up into the E-unit. One on that side, one on that side. All right, put it back on the rail. Look at that. Look at that. E-unit is sticking really badly. There we go. Now that is actually really impressive. These Marx motors are built so well. This thing has been sitting for years, decades. covered in rust, and a few drops of oil, a blast of WD-40, and this is the result, a running motor that is actually running really, really well. I mean, considering 10 bucks on eBay, made the guy an offer on this, it's just absolutely dreadful condition. Now, I bought this just to use it for parts. But as you see, I'm definitely not going to tear this thing apart. So a bit of cleanup, and you have a running single reduction motor for $10. Now, there is probably about $40 worth of parts in a single motor, if you can count all the parts in here. But in this case, why tear it apart? It is a running motor. Now, I bought this just to tear it apart. But as you see, if you de-rust the push rods, the rest of the motor is hidden inside the shell. So clean up the wheels, the push rods, you really don't have to do much else to this. I mean, it is in terrible condition, yes, but it's running. And not only is it running, it's running really well now. So anyway, I've got to say it, don't overlook the junk. I made this guy an offer on this thing. He had it on there for $24, if I remember right, or $18. I can't really remember. Anyway, I contacted him and pointed out this thing was not going to run. It's missing parts. It's in dreadful condition. And I just told him I'd buy these for parts. If he's interested, I told him I'd give you 10 bucks for it. And surprisingly, he accepted it. So it'd been on there for a while with no bitters of any kind. And as you can see why. But as I always stress, try to look past the rust and the damage. If you look at this motor, there is nothing physically wrong with it. It is ugly in the extreme, yes. It's been neglected for decades, 20, 30 years. This thing has been sitting someplace, absolutely unused, untouched, unrun. And yet, how long has it been? 5 minutes? And this old motor is up and running. And not only running, it's running forward and reverse, and it's running absolutely perfectly. It's running like new, even at low speed, as you see. And that's really impressive. That's why it's amazing, these old Marx motors. They were built so well, and very well thought out, very good design. Really efficient, and best of all, they take a licking and keep on ticking. That's the neat thing about them. So a bit of cleanup. I've got another single reduction motor with a usable shell. I can just put a rear plate in this with a tab and slot coupler, and I have a complete locomotive ready to run. In any case, I just wanted to do a video. I thought it was really strange that this arrived on a Sunday. It's the first time, maybe second time, not really sure. Anyway, I got an email that it was on the front porch, and there it was. And this is Sunday. That's really strange. In any case, I just want to do a quick video on unboxing this motor. And as you see, it went from being an absolute artifact, 10 bucks, useless, and is now up and running. So now it just depends on how much time you want to put in it, cleaning it up. But all you really need to do is de-rust those push rods and clean the wheels. The rest of the motor is completely hidden in the shell, no matter what shell you put it in. But as you see, this is running perfectly, forward and reverse, and I have done nothing to it. A couple of drops of oil and 2 blasts of WD-40 to break the E-unit loose. So I will saturate the push rods with oil, let them set, take a sharp razor blade, scrape this down to bare steel. That'll make them silver again. A bit of judicious tweaking or cleaning with a toothbrush and some oil on these wheels. That'll bring them back to life. And the rest is just going to be lubrication and cleaning. But it's already running. You can put this in a shell right now and run it the rest of your life. That's the neat thing about these Marx motors. And this thing's running just absolutely splendidly. So anyway, I just want to do a quick video. As I always stress, don't overlook the junk. 10 bucks on eBay, made the guy an offer, he accepted. Here it is, up and running. So as always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email, benstrains@gmail.com. And as always, thank you for watching.